All right, everyone. I honestly can't stand any more of that than you can. Unhappy Wednesday, everybody. Coming to you live from the compound here again. This is the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. We thank you, as always, for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever service you're using to tune in. So pull up a chair, turn up the volume, use the company dime if you're still stuck at work, and let's get wild as we put an end to day 3 of this week's hostage situation and look forward to tomorrow, Friday Eve. For some of us, today was kind of Friday Eve because tomorrow's kind of our Friday. I don't know about everybody, but I'm looking forward to a 4-day weekend, then 3 days back to work, and then 3 days off for New Year's. Anyways, just a couple things before we get off and rolling. As always, folks, if you're tuning in on Facebook or Twitter, please do not forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe the Green Legion page. If those services are where you're comfortable, we totally get it and want you to be wherever you're the most comfortable. But the YouTube channel really is the best way to view and listen and comment on any Green Legion radio show. So please, even if you don't intend to use it, do us all a solid. Click on, get over to YouTube, find the Green Legion on there. I post it all over the place on social media. So does everyone else. And just go ahead, subscribe, and share that with all of your friends and family. Never know. Somebody might chime in. If you can't catch our shows live, you can always watch or listen later on any of the services we mentioned before, but also on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Finally, our nest at the back porch had another solid week. I'm going to keep talking about this because it's something that a lot of us out here are putting a lot of time and effort into. Made a new friend. He actually wandered in, was sitting at the bar, and a mutual friend of ours who was also up there dragged him back to our nest. Hey, I found another one for you. And off he came in. Kenny, I think it was his name. Yeah, Kenneth. Good dude. Had a nice conversation with him. Hopefully we see him again on New Year's Day because the back porch is going to close at 5 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Our game not kicking off until 4:25 at Dallas. We're just not going to, spend it with your families and enjoy the holiday. So, but back at it again on New Year's Day against the Saints, where our brother Mike Solon will be managing that day. And I use the air quotes because, well, he'll likely be back in the nest with us most of the time. Anyways, I made a promise to all of you that we'd have a guest every week through the end of the year. And in keeping that promise, I'd like to bring in a gentleman who we met this season. Please give a big Green Legion Radio welcome to our friend, Jason Szczurowski. Jason, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's up, Adam? How you doing, man? What's up with Facebook and Twitter?
Say hi to Green Legion land.
What's up?
We get a pretty good crew here, man. It's the usual suspects in the room most nights. Over here, we've got Lou Mancini, David Califoot, Keenan Harmon, everybody. Like I said, usual suspects. And dude, I'll tell you, a lot of times when we get to times of the year where there's not a whole hell of a lot going on and we're reaching for content, sometimes the room provides all the content we need, man, and it's awesome.
Hey, man, I love it. I love it.
So it's a great crew. Jason, why don't you tell us a little about yourself? You came to us, you reached out to the Green Legion right after our Arizona trip.
Yeah.
And Diaz kind of gave me your info, and I reached out, and off we go from there.
Yeah, so my name is Jason Szczurowski. I'm originally from Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Philly. That's why I'm a 4-for-4 Philly guy. Diehard Eagles, go Birds. I'm active duty Coast Guard, but I'm transitioning this summer. And right now I'm on an internship in Cincinnati, Ohio, where my wife lives and where you live. And that's how I wanted to try to link up with everywhere I've been in the Coast Guard. There's been, there's been Green Legion or some sort of Eagles bar somewhere in a community. And it's always been nice to be able to bond with the community of Eagles fans wherever I've been stationed. So I reached out to Green Legion and got linked up with you guys in the porch. And I fell in love immediately. You guys are awesome. It's such great energy. And I can't wait to bring my son up there on New Year's Day so he can see the madness.
Yeah, and we do. We get wild up there. We bring the speakers out. We're screaming the fire. I tell you, that game against the Giants, which, I know that's something you wanted to talk about this week. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But when we're, hanging 48 on the Giants, we were out of control, dude. I mean, just screaming. Just screaming, yelling for no reason. A Bengal fan would stick their head around the wall, and I would just yell, "Hey, hey!" and everybody else would join in, and the guy would turn around and walk away.
Hey, that's a lot of fight songs, my guy. That's a lot. 48 points. That's a lot of songs.
Yeah, a lot of songs, a lot of EAGLES in between. A lot of Adam didn't have much of a voice on Monday morning. It was worth it. It was great.
Awesome.
But yeah, the bar tab paid the price for that one. So, Jason, you got your own podcast, right?
Yeah, I do. I host the Sailors Port Call, which is it's actually a leadership podcast generally. Just on my and some stories and sea stories from my time in the service. I have guests on from not just the Coast Guard, but from all walks of life, talking about leadership in their perspective fields. But recently I've been doing a survival challenge series, which is actually, I'm a huge Survivor fan, CBS Survivor fan. And I was blessed to be able to be cast in a live reality game in Macomb, Illinois, where they emulate Survivor for 5 days. I did that last summer. So I've been having every member of my cast on talking about the gameplay, tribal councils, voting each other out, the challenges, and it's been super fun. So again, if you guys want to check it out, it's the Sailors Port Call. You can get it on all the podcast platforms, and it's also on YouTube. I'll usually release the videos like a little bit later, but yeah, man, if you like it, let me know. And if anybody wants to come on and talk leadership, just reach out to me at Sailors Port Call on Instagram and Facebook. Nice,
very nice. We checked you out here a couple of times. I like the format. I've been in warehouse operations, warehouse logistics, inventory control, supply chain, and I've been in some form of supervisory management or leadership since I was 23, 24. So I enjoy the platform. I enjoy hearing, people's different perspectives on that sort of thing. And that Survivor stuff is really cool, man.
Dude.
And I can see the passion, like even when you're just nonchalantly talking about it, you can see your whole face light up. You can tell you love it.
I want to get on the show, man. I want Jeff Probst to call me up and get me on that real show. I want to play so bad. It's a bucket list item of mine. It's something that I really want to do. And the LRG community puts on all these different games to give people like me a chance to play. And if anyone likes Survivor or Big Brother or any of those, go to Facebook, check out Live Reality Games, and apply. It's a blast, and you meet amazing people that are going to be your friends for life.
What do we got over here? Aside from the usual suspects, I have someone, Jody Marks.
Hey,
Love
Jody.
My buddy Jason. Hope to run into you at the game on 1-1. Go Birds.
Yes, Jody. She's I graduated high school with Jody, Abington High School.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Let me jump over here for just a minute so we can say what's up. Lou Mancini in the room. How you doing, my brother?
What's up, Lou?
David Califoot also here.
What do you say, Dave?
Keenan Harmon says, "Happy holidays, you crazies."
What's up, Keenan?
Brian, did I see Brian here? No, not Brian yet. And then Jody. So yeah, they're over here talking about the Eagles Christmas album too. They're hoping I can somehow use that as intro music for the show. I don't even know if I'll be allowed to do that.
Have you heard it yet? I haven't heard it.
Look, what I can tell you, you haven't heard any of it?
They played it on like Fox and they showed like, Mailata's, his pipes and stuff like that, but I haven't really heard songs yet.
Dude, Mailata, so 6'8", 360 pounds, this man, right? And the voice of an angel,
dude.
Right? I've been calling him a unicorn. Like
he's phenomenal.
Phenomenal. He really has a great voice.
Yeah.
And they are, it looks like they had a blast. I know that I don't know if anybody knows where the proceeds for the album are going to. It's going to a charity. I just off the top of my head can't remember which one. But they released I think it was a few thousand of they were like green vinyl records, and it sold out was like somebody put Pearl Jam tickets on sale. It was gone in a heartbeat, right? It was awesome. So good for those guys. I listened to when I take my lunch breaks on Tuesdays, I listen to, was it Dusty and Danny? It's I think it's called Dog Days with Dusty and Danny. It's Danny Cannell and Dusty Dvorak, and they're on Mad Dog Radio on Sirius XM. And every Tuesday, Lane Johnson joins them right around the time that I take lunch. So Lane's on there talking about it. just his career and stuff. Lane's a great interview. He's fun to listen to.
That's cool.
Yeah, they had him talking about the Dallas, the upcoming Dallas game this week.
Oh yeah.
Which when we get going here, that's what we're gonna dive into here. Is the upcoming Dallas thing. But before we get into sports, last week for the first time, so my friend Fito was on with me last week. We went for 4 hours on here, but that was a Well, I had to move from Wednesday night to Friday night because Wednesday night I had my daughter had a choir thing.
Yeah.
So I had to go on Friday night. So it was like the first ever Friday unhappy hour. So I sat here with a bowl full of ice and beer, and my buddy's at his house in Connecticut doing the same thing. And we basically just sat out here and got shit-faced.
Sounds like a Friday night to me.
Oh, it was out of control. We were 4 hours later. I'm like, dude, I got to close the show, man. Keep going like this. I said, we can stay, at once, because once I click on like end broadcast here, it goes right back to how you and I were before the show.
Yeah.
So nobody else can see what's going on. We sat in there for another 2 or 3 hours. And then I ran out of beer here. So I'm like opening the door behind me. I'm like, yo, Dad needs another one. Here comes my son. Oh, you would just see, I could see it over my shoulder. Just see a beer sticking through the door.
Just reach back for it. You got him trained.
It was terrible.
Well
I think I drank like, I don't know. It was like 13 or 14 beers. I was
Sounds like a
mushed.
good night. Did you take your IV, your liquid
I
IV?
did. I think I took it too late because Saturday, Big John, the guy that hangs out with us at the porch, he called and he's like, hey, man, what are you doing for the game today? I'm like, I'm laying on my futon. I'm not going anywhere. This is a mess. I had to recover so I could get ready for Sunday.
Well played.
Yeah. Sorry if you see me a little distracted here. My dog happened to be in the room. I didn't realize he was still in here, but I shut the door. Do you want out? You little pain in the ass? No, you can't come on camera. Get out of here.
Hey, he's an Eagles fan too. He can be on.
Yeah, he's all right. So one of the things we did last week was for the first time was like, I teased it in the show last week and today. I called it BOTW, which I'm calling the Boner of the Week.
All right.
And this is where we find some idiot, whether it's a broadcaster, a podcast, a game announcer, an athlete, or whatever, that just makes the biggest, just epic fail for the week. So for me, for this week, what I had it narrowed down to was first one was Matt Ryan.
Oh,
because this poor bastard is going to end his career with in the top 10 all time in passing yards and passing touchdowns. And yet he is only going to be remembered for the biggest Super Bowl choke.
Yep.
And then the biggest choke overall.
Yep.
Now you could say it's maybe it's Jim Irsay, but I'm going with Matt Ryan because, well, he's got the Super Bowl choke to go along with it.
I agree.
My other one was the New England Patriots offense.
I was going to say that. That's exactly what I was going to say. Well, you could probably use Chris Collinsworth every single week. I can't understand that guy. But, the Patriots, that's a real good one.
I mean, the Patriots, who instead of just taking their game to overtime, right, decided to attempt, I don't know, what was that? The annexation of Puerto Rico they tried?
I don't know what they were thinking. That's something you do when you're down by, 6 points.
And you're losing.
Yeah.
Right? Like the band is still on the field. It's that type of play, right?
Unbelievable.
And then Chandler Jones snags what they're calling the fumble at this point.
Yeah. And
before he scrambles for the score, he makes Mac Jones his absolute bitch on the way through.
Yeah, he did.
Mush.
Insult to injury. So
Dude,
the question is,
brutal.
Was that decided by the players, or was that something that the special teams coach told him to do? That's the bonehead move, right?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know if that's a Matt Patricia thing. You think about what Bill Belichick did up there. I mean, he took a guy who's been a defensive coach and said, here, be my offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal.
That's a good one, Jody.
What you got here? Chris Sims dissing our QB and ESPN still ranking the Cowboys as number 1 and Birds as number 5. We could use ESPN on a weekly basis too.
Yeah.
The way they fillet the Cowboys, the LeBron James, really whatever else you want to.
It's unbelievable. But Chris Sims is top 40, and not having Jalen in the top 40 last year was ridiculous. And I don't even know, was he even top 40 this year? Whatever he was, I mean, the guy's an MVP candidate, and Chris Sims has him at the bottom of the ranking. Like he still is not giving, well, a lot of the league isn't giving Jalen Hurts, I think, the credit that he deserves.
And I love that. I'm absolutely fine with it. Continue to shit on this man.
He looks fired up about it, doesn't he? He is laser focused.
Oh, yeah. You saw them even against the Giants. We're up all the ton, and he's just sitting on the sideline like,
yep.
They're all, I mean, A.J. Brown and Devontae are over here laughing, clowning around. Jalen's just waiting for his next opportunity. I'm like, yo, dude, you can smile every so often, buddy. It's okay.
It's almost like Kobe Bryant-esque, right? Like with that Mamba, like that laser focus.
Yeah, the killer instinct.
Yet. I love it, man. That's the kind of player you want on your team.
Well, you know who he worked out with during the offseason was Tom Brady.
Well, that helps.
Yeah. I mean, if there's another guy that fits that kind of in that box with the killer instinct and the chip on the shoulder all the time. And this is a guy who's won 7 Super Bowls, and he's still pissed he was the 199th pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how rough is your life, really, dude? I mean, I know you just got divorced and stuff, but you've got like ridiculous Instagram models chasing you down. Like you got a 10-year, $375 million Fox contract waiting for you to retire. Life could be worse.
But that's the thing. I mean, that if that's what he needs to drive him to be better, even if he has to fabricate like hardship just to piss him off enough to play, and that's what he's done. That's what Brady's done his whole career. Like it's always something that pisses him off. It just gives him that energy and focus to keep pushing for more.
Always him, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, and yeah, I think you see a little bit of the glare in the eye of Jalen Hurts like that.
I love it.
I am thrilled to pieces. Be mad. The only thing I don't want is I do not want to see him on the field this weekend.
He's not. They won't. And I
There's
have
no
it in
reason.
my notes.
Yep, me too.
He is. They're playing cat and mouse. Nick Sirianni's playing the game, letting them prepare for 2.
Yep.
But you're gonna see Gardner.
It's gonna be Uncle Rico. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it should be. When Dallas lost to Jacksonville and we beat the Bears. Now, I would tell you going into this past weekend, I thought both were trap games for each team.
Yep. Agreed.
Eagles coming off that massive win at the Giants, making that statement in the division.
Yeah. And
then you're at the Bears, who stink, but you got Dallas on the horizon. And Dallas, the same thing, right? They've got Jacksonville.
It's cold as shit in Chicago. You got Justin Fields, who's a beast at quarterback. Like it was setting up to be a trap game for sure.
It was a trap game, and I think Dallas had the trap game too. Difference is we won ours.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott with the tip pass managed to blow theirs. So,
dude, sorry to interrupt, but speaking of, did you see Shady McCoy?
What did he say now?
He said Dak is ass live on the TV. And he was like, can I say that? He's like, I'm sorry, but Dak is ass. And he went through this giant, talk about how terrible Dak Prescott is and how he's a choker. And I was like, this dude, Shady is awesome. Like Shady is out there waving the flag for the Eagles and Hurts, man.
He is. I'm more the type. I get nervous when people start chirping. You know what I mean? I don't want the triple. Let Micah Parsons have that stage and run his mouth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to walk in quiet because I honestly believe this team can still go to Dallas with Gardner Minshew and still win this game.
No, they're going to win this game.
I think it's totally possible.
They're going to win this game. The defense has something to prove here. The defense is going to sit there and first of all, after the first game, all they talked about was Cooper Rush, right? And the defense is like, well, dude, we're a good defense. So now with Dak in, they're going to have something to prove. And I'm telling you, Gardner Minshew can play a little bit.
He can play.
I was looking over his stats. His 2 starts last year, he was 41 for 60, 439 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception with 104 QB rating. And that was without A.J. Brown on the other side, Devontae Smith. Right. Can you imagine him with these weapons? Like I think we're going to win. I would take the Eagles in this game.
Yeah, right now I would definitely because I think even Vegas is daring you to.
It's 5 points. Is it Dallas 5 point favorite?
It's 5 points, right? So yep. Jalen obviously shouldn't play. Neither of us think he's going to play, right? Yeah. And I don't even think Sirianni is giving it a second thought. You need to win one of the final 3. Is really what it comes. That's all it comes down to. Once Dallas lost last week, the whole dynamic changed.
Sure.
Had Dallas pulled that game out, then it becomes a little bit more challenging. But with the fact that they lost Jalen, and I know Mike and John up at the porch agree, and I want your opinion, dude. I personally feel like he's been taking too many hits the last few weeks.
Agreed.
I think earlier in the season, he was sliding more. He was getting out of bounds. He was just getting down, twisting, turning, getting away from, and lately he's been getting smacked.
Yep.
And now he's got the shoulder, right? So, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I think he's got to get back to what he was doing earlier in the season, even if that means his rushing yards take a step back a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think early in the season, his designed runs, or even the RPRs, were more outside so he could get out of bounds. But I've seen a lot of him going right up the A gap, right? Like take a couple steps back and go. And what that allows for is, somebody coming out of his like peripheral or side view he doesn't see that can smack him, right? He can slide in front of a safety or maybe even like a slot corner or somebody coming up, but he can't see that backside lineman that's running or linebacker. And that's what got him hurt in Chicago. And I was actually taking notes. I rewatched the game today, and there was a lot of right up the A gap in the middle type design runs, and I think those are dangerous for a quarterback.
I do too. And as tough as he is, and he's a big, strong kid. We all know it. 6'2", 220, I think he's squats 600 pounds. Got it. That's great in that 4th and short where we just push. And it worked the one time for the touchdown where, they sent zero coverage and they sent the safety. Safety went to the wrong side of the center, right? And Jalen just ran right by him. Gone. Touchdown. Like they're calling it the Moses play.
Yeah.
You've seen that, where he's just parting the seas. So, but I agree with you. I don't like all of it coming up the gut like that. You've got to be able to, and even the RPO, he seems to want. I wonder if being up against Justin Fields had anything to do with it, because he seemed to be pulling that back rather than letting Miles take off with it a little bit more against Chicago than he had the couple of weeks previous to that. I wonder if that kind of matchup, because he knows Justin Fields has been running all over the place.
Yeah, a little bit, but I also think the cold was bothering him. He said he'd never played in 20-degree weather, and then it was windy, right? So like he threw that early interception, and I think he got a little bit timid with the winds and the crosswinds and everything else. And I think he was like, let me just do this, settle everything down, run the ball a little bit, and then that'll open up the pass game, which it kind of did, but it did get him hurt, so that sucks.
About the wind and everything and the interceptions, did it make you nervous at all seeing how much the ball was floating coming out of his hand when he faced some adverse weather conditions?
No, it's hard to throw in that. I mean, that was some ripping wind down there, and you know how it is at Soldier Field. Like that wind it's brutal. It's brutal. First of all, it's brutal in Chicago, the city, but then in that field, it's spinning. It's like all over the place. And you could see once he adjusted for it. I mean, in the 3rd and 4th quarter, he had some really pretty balls that he threw to AJ and Devontae. So I'm not too concerned with it. I think it was just him kind of getting acclimated to it. Although I will say, if we're in a playoff game and it's cold and windy, he may not want to take too many chances early on until he figures out the trajectory of the ball for sure.
And that's kind of where my concern goes. Now, we're push one more win and it's home field.
Yeah. And
Philly's no joke in January either. So we all know the wind will whip. It's going to be cold. So it did kind of look, his arm strength has gotten better. There's no question about it, but it really had nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
And as much as it has improved, it's still not great, right? Like it's still not his strongest point is the arm strength. He's gotten where what's really improved more is the accuracy.
Yeah,
his accuracy's gone through the roof compared to where he was even just 2 seasons ago.
Yep.
Hell, even just last year. Obviously some of that is AJ Brown being part of the mix now. We do get Dallas Goedert back this weekend.
That'll be nice.
So that's going to be nice. He apparently could have played against Chicago. I think they did the right thing by not bringing him back.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a need for him against the Bears. Of course,
no.
I didn't expect to struggle like that against the Bears either. But again, we didn't need him against Chicago. We need him against Dallas, especially now with Jalen likely out. Well, he better be out.
Yeah, he's out. They ain't
I
playing.
think he plays the last 2 weeks though.
Maybe it depends on how Gardner does. I don't know, man. Like if they win next week, the only thing they have to play for is to beat the Saints to help that
the draft pick.
Yep. Right. But if Gardner looks good with these weapons, I don't know if you see Jalen until the first round of the playoffs. That gives him 4 weeks rest.
My concern is it's too much time. It'd be 5 weeks at that point because you got the first round bye. And that's now he's got to get back, get acclimated, I'd like to see him at least back on the field a little bit. I know I talked to a buddy of mine, a huge Giants fan. I talked to him yesterday morning, and he is just praying to God that we beat either Dallas. He wants us to beat Dallas. Obviously, we share that hatred.
Oh, yeah.
But, Dallas and or New Orleans, so that game against his boys at the end of the year means nothing to us because he's looking for the playoff spot. And I'm like, dude, look, I don't know that we really take our foot off the gas that much if it means something for – if it's the Giants win, that keeps Detroit out or Washington out. Like, in some sort of integrity has to play a role there too. You know what I mean? Especially against the division rival.
Yeah, I will say that just based on Sirianni's like history with preseason and not really playing people, like there's not even a dress rehearsal anymore. I think he's more. I think he's more acclimated to rest his players if they have it wrapped up. Yeah, that's my one.
Rhea, I think you caught him off guard with that one.
Right in the middle of my sentence. Thank you, love.
That is Jason's lovely wife. I don't share the same sentiment as she does, but good for her.
Oh, she got me good.
Yeah, she got you with that one. I saw you laugh when the comment came up. I'm like, let's see how long it takes him to stutter a little bit. Good for her.
Yeah, but I think he'll rest. I think he'll rest them if everything's wrapped up, just because that's kind of his MO. That's what his MO has been. I mean, not last season because we limped into the playoffs, but he's always been that no hitting type of guy in camp, really, and then the preseason thing. So I think that's probably what he'll lean towards. And I kind of hope he does. I would hate to see us go out and play the Giants and then have AJ tweak that ankle again, or, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's just, this team deserves to go into the playoffs full strength. And I would hate to see something happen. I'd rather them be a little rusty. And quite frankly, I'm not worried about Jalen being rusty. Like, that guy works too damn hard.
He works so hard.
If he takes 5 weeks off, I don't think he's going to be that rusty. He's
5 weeks and just pissed off, right? Like, he's going to come back pissed.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what would happen. Like, I really think he would just come back just angry at the world.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Have you seen some of the preliminary, like, rumor talk about what his contract might look like?
No. Have you? What, you got numbers?
Yeah. So there's rumors out there that there's whispers of 50 per season.
50 per season?
50 per season. Yeah.
What's Deshaun getting right now?
Because Deshaun is right? over for, well, no, Aaron Rodgers is the benchmark now.
Oh, I thought it was Deshaun.
The problem you have with Deshaun is he inked that big deal at 40 something average annual value, but it's all Deshaun's baggage and he's still got that much. That's like, yo, you're going to pay this guy that much. How the hell do you not pay me more?
Which is why Lamar was like, you guys got to give me more than Deshaun. Like, I don't even get in trouble off the field.
And so, Lamar bet on himself this year, and it's not working out well.
I feel bad for him, man. I like him.
A little. Yeah. I think he's another one that's worked very hard coming out of Louisville. All the knock was he can't throw, he can't do this, he can't. He's still not a great passer, but I think he's worked very hard to become even the passer that he is.
Yeah.
And you had two real big prominent athletes bet on themselves this year, with one with baseball with Aaron Judge and another one with Lamar Jackson. Yeah. And total contrast with the two, right? Like, Aaron Judge bets on himself, goes out and has one of the greatest offensive seasons in the history of sport.
Yeah.
Right. And cashes that into, $40 million a year. And then, Lamar, who's been banged up and blown, was it 4 or 5 second half leads, 3 or 4 of them in the fourth quarter alone, one of them against the freaking Giants. And that one against the Giants, I watched that entire second half. That was 100% on him. That interception, throwing back to the middle of the field, rolling out, and then trying to scramble. He's holding the ball down at his hip, and it got knocked out. I think it was Thibodeau.
Get you every time.
Every time, man. Every single time. So, but yeah, it's a bummer for him.
Yeah.
And that's something that we talked about on this show over the summer was the quarterback contracts coming up and the ones that have already been. Like Kyler Murray, he can't even reach the Crispix off the top of the fridge. And he cashed in 40 or 41 million a year, right?
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson's big deal. Right.
How'd that work out for the Cardinals? They got eliminated last week. They're done.
He's chilling home playing Call of Duty now, right?
Yep.
It was right where he wanted to be anyways.
Yeah, him and Ben Simmons.
So last week I had my son on here to talk some NBA, and I warned him beforehand. I'm like, Philly crowd, there's some trigger words. Ben Simmons is one of those. Don't mention Ben Simmons. What does he do? He's on here for 5 minutes and mentions Ben Simmons.
Of course.
And the room just went in on him, dude.
Yes. Get him, guys. Let him know.
I tried to tell him not. He had his TV on in his room, too, so he could see the room. I told him not to. I said, let me manage the room. Just read your stuff. Nope. He mentioned Ben Simmons, and then he mentioned the Toronto Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors. I'm like, kid, I can't help you now.
No,
there's nothing I can do for you.
You have just unleashed the Kraken.
But yeah, I had a whole spreadsheet with all the contracts and stuff, and now you have another crop coming up, right? So Joe Burrow is going to need to get paid.
He's going to get paid.
Lamar Jackson's going to need to get paid. Jalen Hurts is going to be part of that group.
Yep.
The Cowboys are going to be forced again to make a decision on Dak Prescott. He signed it for a high average annual value, but not a very long contract. That's got like one more year before they're in trouble again. The other one is Justin Herbert.
Oof.
So when you look at these kids, so now Burrow's been to a Super Bowl. Bengals are red hot again now.
Yep.
Right? They're poised. If they win out and Kansas City drops one along the way, the Bengals would be the number one seed.
The Bengals are Burrow's getting paid, bro.
He's gonna get paid.
Plus, that guy's just cool.
He is. He's just smooth, dude.
He's
like
cool,
he just like it's not like he toes that line between confidence and arrogance.
Yeah,
but he doesn't cross it, right? He just kind of wavers around it, smokes his cigars.
Yeah,
and like
he's gonna get paid.
Lamar's going to get paid, injury or not, and the rough season. He's still going to get his. He's been in the playoffs. He's won an MVP award. He's gonna get paid.
The worst case for Lamar is if they don't come to an agreement, they'll just franchise him. They're not going to let him walk, right?
No.
You cannot let Lamar Jackson walk.
They can franchise him twice.
So he'll get paid in his franchise season, and then they'll work on a deal, and then he'll have to bet on himself again because if he gets hurt in his franchise tag season, that would be
catastrophic.
That'd be catastrophic. But I don't think he does not make it to free agency, so he's still playing for Baltimore next year for sure.
Yeah, he'll still be in Baltimore and likely for at least the next 2 years. They can franchise tag him twice. The difference is, so your first franchise tag, it's the average of what the top 5 quarterbacks are getting paid. On the second one, it's the average of the top 3.
Whew.
So Baltimore probably wants to get this deal done before Jalen cashes in, before Burrow cashes in.
Yep.
And all of that sort of thing.
Yep.
The wild card is Herbert, who might be the most gifted thrower of the ball out of that whole group.
100%. He's a talent.
But he's not even made the playoffs.
I mean, is that team and system?
It could be, but the quarterback wears that.
Yeah, that's true.
Coach and quarterback wear that more than anyone else on the team.
Unless he's got the numbers to say, look at me against these top, 5 quarterbacks numbers wise, and look at our points against on defense and all. His agent could bring that to the table and
he will
flip it. Yeah. Oh yeah, I would.
And he will.
Yeah.
But the most outside of availability being the number one attribute, right? You have to be on the field, and he is.
Yeah.
The other one is you got to be a winner. And so far, Justin Herbert so far is Phillip Rivers.
Yeah,
the similarities are starting to become a little eerie, dude. And don't get me wrong, Rivers had some big seasons and was the number 1 seed, and they were in the playoffs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I don't think Herbert's going to forever not be in the playoffs, but right now he's going to be measured against guys who have not only been in the playoffs but have made deep runs.
Yeah,
he's going to be measured against MVP winners and MVP candidates.
Yep,
and he's not sniffed any of that yet.
No, he's not there yet.
That's going to hurt his earning potential because that's the group he's going to be compared to.
Yeah, that's true.
I talked about that over the summer, and the thing he's going to be able to lean on most is that Deshaun Watson contract. Like, you got to pay me more than this guy. He didn't play for 2 years, and you still paid him all that. You have to pay me more than him.
See, but that's the problem. It really set a false benchmark for the league because he wasn't playing. He was suspended for 11, 12 weeks. He's still got civil suits going on. Like for them,
he's a scumbag.
For them to pay him what they did really screwed the league up, and that's really what messed up Lamar and had forced Lamar into what he's into. And it's going to set the stage for this next group. I don't think there's any question that Jalen Hurts gets paid more
as a franchise quarterback.
100%. He's going to get paid.
He's proved it this year. I unfortunately missing the game this weekend and maybe more than that probably is going to take him out of that MVP running.
That's terrible.
But I mean, if you ask Jalen Hurts, he would tell you he doesn't give a shit, right? Like he doesn't care. He just wants to win.
Yeah,
he just wants to win.
Again, if Mahomes throws a few interceptions in the next couple of weeks, Jalen Hurts might still hover.
If they drop one, and Mahomes looks bad, that could even it back up again. But then you got to look at Josh Allen, and the Bills are red hot too.
Yeah, they are, and Burrow.
And Burrow, right? Burrow's right there now too.
AFC is tough, bro.
They are. They're deep. They're deeper than the NFC. NFC is very top heavy.
Yeah.
Between us, dude, I think Minnesota showed you who they really are.
They're trash, bro.
I know they had that great comeback in the second half, but the Colts are bad, and to even be down like that at halftime, just Minnesota. What are you gonna get? Does anyone on the planet think Minnesota's going to walk into Philadelphia in an NFC Championship game and win that?
Nope, there's no way. Kirk Cousins is not that guy. I don't like him a little bit.
Primetime Cousins will show up, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
Dougie P and the Jacksonville Sunshines again did us that huge solid with that with the overtime victory. We were losing it up at the back porch, dude. Get our win, and we're immediately over to that TV, and then that tip pass goes right in the kids, and we just lost it.
Dude, that was
fantastic.
Oh God.
Because that setup there, we've got the screen in front of us, and we got the smaller one up above it on the left.
Yeah.
So the Dallas game was on there the whole time. Dallas was up 21-7 in the first half. I'm like, forget it.
Yeah.
And then here they come in the second half. Dak throws the pick. They come right back down and score again. Beautiful. Don't need to play Jalen. Need to win one of our last 3 to shore everything up. Can we win with Uncle Rico at quarterback?
Yeah.
In Dallas. I think we can.
I think we are going to win this game.
And just the talent around him is enough. Now, I think it's a different type of game, right? You're not going to see a whole lot of the Jalen Hurts type of offense. It's going to be a different type of package because Minshew's not Jalen. He's quick enough, but he's not Jalen Hurts.
No. Here's what's going to happen. So I don't think Miles Sanders touched the ball until the second quarter of the Bears game.
Yeah, that was bad.
That's not going to happen.
No.
He's going to touch the ball the first probably 5 of the first 7 plays on that scripted drive, right? They're going to establish that run game, and they really should. And that's going to open stuff up, man. That'll open stuff up for Minshew, and I think Minshew, he's an accurate passer. He's smart. Like you said, he's not as mobile as Jalen, but I mean, I could throw it up to AJ Brown and have him coming down and get it. All you got to do is throw it in the sky for that guy. He's going to get it. And Devontae has proven that he's that guy too. You just throw it up there, he's going to get it. And he's little. These guys are so talented that I think Minshew is just going to pick them apart. And he's got Goddard back in the middle.
And Goddard is back.
Yep.
I think that's huge. I think you've really seen – I know we were blowing people out even without him, but the middle of the field was a bit of a problem. And now you get Goddard back, and that just changes everything, dude. Now you can keep Stahl in the blocking – tight end role and run your routes with Goddard. We're the number 4 rushing team in the league at 158 yards a game.
Oh yeah.
First game against Dallas. They can say whatever they want about Cooper Rush, but I didn't allow Dallas fans to give me that as an excuse because they were all deep throating the guy leading into that game. He's undefeated. He's undefeated.
Yeah. He's trash,
and then pound him. And we pounded their defense pretty well that night, too. I think the biggest key was our rushing offense attacked straight at Micah Parsons.
Yep.
Everything just shoved right at him.
That's what you got to do.
Take him out of the game. And then Lane Johnson, even in a one-on-one, did a great job against them on that side of the field. I think you see the same thing there. Dallas is 25th against the run. Okay, they're not good against the run.
Nope.
And we run it well.
Russell, it must be the screen. It's definitely a midnight green Eagles flag. But maybe it's the lighting in here. But
what's it got, Russ? Is your Eagles flag blue? No, it looks midnight green to me.
It's definitely midnight green. The lighting is here a little bit off, but and I'm wearing the Kelly Green Randall Cunningham throwback, so it looks a little bit different.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, when you run at Micah Parsons, he'll make some plays, but what that does is it allows Lane Johnson to just push him and beat him up. And defensive lineman, I was a defensive lineman, till I was 14 years old. And even at that age, like, it beats you up. Like, you have hands on you every game. And if they're running downhill at you and then you've got you've got the guard bumping Parsons too, and you're pulling people, like, that is tiring. And that's going to mess up Parsons' pass rush. If you beat him up in the run game early, he's going to be slower on that pass rush. So I feel like that's probably going to be the game plan, is to run at Parsons, like you said, beat him up. And then when it's time for that play action, he's already exhausted. He might be a half a second slower. That might give Minshew some time to get that ball off.
Yeah, and I think that worked well in the first meeting. And again, Cooper Rush, I didn't want to hear it. They were all over his nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my buddies, I got a friend of mine back home. I got actually a couple of buddies back home that are Dallas fans, and they're Cooper Rush this, Cooper Rush that. And then, he comes out, he throws 3 interceptions. All of a sudden, Cooper Rush sucks.
Yeah.
Well, you won because of Cooper Rush. All right, whatever. You know what? We're done with you. We'll see you at the end of the year. That's enough out of you. Minshew just needs to manage it, not turn the ball over, right? Just don't be stupid. Like you said before, he's pretty smart, pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Just do that. Take what's there. Don't push it, right? I think, and, defensively, we're the second overall. Now, defensively, this is not all that different from the first matchup. Defensively, the Cowboys and the Eagles are pretty even.
Yep.
Even with the run defense, but I have kind of a caveat to that. We're number 1 in sacks with 55. They're second with 49.
Yeah.
We're still number 1 in turnover ratio at +12. They're second at +9.
Damn.
We allow 19.2 points per game. That's good for 6th in the NFL. Dallas is 7th at 19.1.
Wow.
So
okay.
they're no slouch on the defensive side of the ball. The difference is that run defense, where I said they're 25th in the league. They're giving up 133 a game. We're 19th, which not a big disparity there, but we went through a 5-week stretch where we gave up an average of 144 yards a game. Yeah. That was week 5 through 10. Obviously, take the bye week out. It's a 5-game stretch.
Yep.
Then we added Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh before the Indianapolis game, and we also got Jordan Davis back. Since then, we're only giving up 114 per game. Also to note with that would be the 123 given up to the Giants. I mean, think about how much of that was in garbage time. I mean, we're just beating them to death, dude. And then the Chicago game, we gave up 157 on the ground, but 95 of that was Justin Fields.
Yep.
Dak Prescott is not that guy.
No.
So it's going to allow where we don't have to spy like that on Dak Prescott, where you had to keep someone up reading Justin Fields' eyes to see where he was going to take off. You don't have to do that as much with Dak Prescott.
Yep.
So even the 114 a game over the last 5, I think, is a little skewed based on the garbage time stuff with the Giants and, of course, the 95 yards from Fields last week in an ugly game.
I 100% agree. I'm not that nervous about this game. I'm actually excited to see Minshew play. It's a weird feeling because obviously you want us to whip the Cowboys and be done with the number 1 seed. But it's a weird game for me because I actually want to see Minshew play with this team. And honestly, like, I just want to shut them up with a backup quarterback just to pour salt in the wound. You know what I mean? Like, I just hate Cowboys.
I think we all feel that way, man. It's
yeah.
like we've had enough of you.
Yeah. Let's do it with Gardner Minshew, or who's that guy from the practice squad? Bring him in. He'll beat him too.
What did you have on the Bears and the Giants? I know you were we haven't talked in a couple of weeks. The Giants game was just such a disaster. It was
Yeah.
I mean, that game was over at the coin toss, dude. It was
Yeah, I don't have a lot about the Giants game, but the Bears game, to me, there was a couple talking points that when I went and rewatched it. So we talked about Jalen getting hit too much, and I think that's a product of him hitting that gut a little bit too much and getting those shots. And the only thing I will say about the play calling is if it's working and he's comfortable in it, you have to call it and trust that he's going to protect his body. And he just didn't a couple times, right? Like, but he'd been pretty good all year doing it. So I don't blame the coaching staff for the play calling. I think it was just unfortunate, but I don't think you change what got you to 12-1 prior to that point, right?
I think that's totally fair. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then I thought the D line, and I mean this is an easy talking point, but the D line was phenomenal. I noticed that most of their sacks were off those end in stunts.
Yep.
Where they would come around up the gut, and Fields had not. He couldn't do anything. I mean, he slipped away a couple times for some nice runs just because he's an incredible talent. But I mean, they gave him in your face pressure constantly, and it showed with the fumbles and what they have 6 or 7 sacks. Like
six.
It was
6 again. Right?
Yeah. So I think the stunt really, those stunts, what they did was they probably saw that the offensive line was not that good, gets confused by those rush stunts, and they just shoot them. They just
ate him for breakfast, man. I mean, Hassan Reddick was, even when he didn't get there, he was just a menace. But every time they tried to one-on-one with him, he was far too fast coming around the edge like that. And then you set up the gut. They kind of, they run the stunt where it's switching off and everything, and they were just baffled.
Killing it.
A not very good Chicago offensive line then lost its best offensive lineman in the first 2.5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that didn't help.
Carted off the field. That didn't help anything.
That didn't help at all. Obviously, Dallas has one of the better offensive lines in the league, so it's going to be a different challenge for them. A couple more things. Special teams. Covey sucks. Like, Boston Scott should just return everything. Like, I don't know why he is not in there returning punts. He's our Darren Sproles of 2017. Like, why is that man not? He's too fast, and like he's hard to see, because he's little. He's just like Sproles, right? Like, in a field of giants, he's this little guy. It's hard to see him. Let that man return. Let him earn his paycheck. Like, he doesn't get any carries. Just
unless we're playing the Giants.
Let's play the Giants. Otherwise, yeah, right. So let that man do something. Like, our special teams has been horrendous all season long, and God bless Covey, but he's just not good. Like, I don't think he's that good. He's not scary.
He's pretty sure-handed, Covey.
Yeah,
he just doesn't do a whole lot to wow you. Now, he had the big game. Was that was the
Giants?
Was it the Giants?
He had a couple
the week before. But I mean, he was a guest on the Green Legion Player Show a month or two ago, not long after they signed him.
Covey was.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this kid, you would say, very humble, decent dude. When when we were doing the Right on Cue show, Quimby's podcast that he does during the off season on Tuesday nights, Covey was one of the guys that was like, the undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
And so we found a picture of him, and it was just like, where is this kid's fucking shoulders? Where's and then he gets on the player, and I was ripping him. I was ripping him when we launched this podcast. I mean, I was just brutal.
Sure.
And then I'm driving home from work one day. I think it was Thursday or Friday, and Quimby calls me. I said, "What's going on, man?" He's, "Where you at?" I said, "I'm on my way home from work." He goes, "You're never going to believe this." I said, "What?" He goes, "You know who the guest is on next Tuesday's player show?" I said, "Who?" He goes, "Britton Covey." I said, "Son of a bitch." I said, "So you need me to back off?" He goes, "Yeah, I got to have you back off."
Yeah, back it off.
But then he gets on there, and he's just this really humble kid, right? Like, so he shows up to the link, but didn't have his pass as a player because he signed up the practice squad 24 hours ago. He didn't have his pass yet to get in the player's lot. So I think he was following Elliott, and Elliott said, "Just follow me in." Well, they wouldn't let him in. He didn't have the pass. He went and paid $60 and parked in like just general parking and walked up to the fucking stadium, stopping and taking pictures with fans and shit. You'd never know it. The guy's tiny, right? He's like 5'6", 5'7",
small.
like 150 pounds, 160 pounds. You wouldn't, if he's walking through, I mean, obviously he's in great shape, but like, if he's just walking through a parking lot, you don't think he's a professional football player.
No. Nope.
And so he just parked there, paid his $60 to park.
So
the story was great. And I backed off him, but I get, a lot of people and myself included. I mean, before he had that good game, the one really big game that he had at punt return and punts, I mean, he was like 43rd in the league in average per return. He's just not, there's been nothing to really be excited about with him. I was hoping with his speed, he'd bust one loose here and there, and it just hasn't happened. I think Boston Scott is more shifty.
Yep.
I like the way you put it before, where he's kind of amongst the Giants, he can kind of hide a little bit once he gets into some traffic. And I think Boston Scott, for even at 5'6", I think he's got a little more pop. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He can stick that shoulder in a little bit.
He's an aggressive runner. Boston Scott's an aggressive runner. Like, I wouldn't tackle that guy. I'm 195 pounds. I'm not tackling that guy. He's a monster. Like, he's a little powerhouse, and he's fast.
And he's fast.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas Britton Covey, I mean, the minute somebody goes and he falls over, like it's kind of a shame. He's a good kid.
I mean, he catches it, so that's probably why he's out there. Because I'm not going to be fielding punts. It's a scary thing. He's sure-handed, like you said, but.
So Keenan over here says that Britton Covey's 5'8", 170. I mean, Keenan, I don't see it, but I have a hard time believing there's 170 pounds on that guy. But you saw him in person, Keenan. I didn't, so I'm going to take your word for it.
What's his 40 time? That's what I want to know.
Covey, his 40. I forget if he was a 4.5 or 4.6, 4.4. I'd have to look it back up. I had it over the summer and then into the early part of the year, but I don't have it since then. I mean, he had a decent college career. He's a good kid, but
yeah,
I'm with you, man. He's not.
Yeah, I think you got it. You have to, after watching the kickoff returns that Boston Scott had in the last couple of weeks. And Boston Scott has returned punts for us in the past. So I don't think it's a big ask to switch him up. Maybe they're just justifying the roster spot for Covey. I don't know.
I mean, he's out there returning. He's out there on every kick return now. Boston Scott, that's kind of his role now, that and the third string runner.
Lou's got a point. Maybe he dropped a couple punts or muffed a couple punts.
Maybe Scott has showed some. Yeah, Lou Mancini over on here on YouTube. Maybe Scott has showed something in practice that's influenced their decision on why he's not returning punts. So it's not even just about dropping it or fumbling it or whatever. A lot of it is having to read what's coming at you while still doing this, looking up at the sky. You have to know and be able to wait for the fair catch or not.
It's a decision, right? Yeah.
It's a critical one. If you don't wave that off, they just unload on you.
Yep.
And then if you do wave it off, but you wave it off too soon, you could have gotten 7, 8, 10 yards. So, and maybe it's the awareness on that's causing it. Whereas Covey seems to do a decent job on that end of things. He just hasn't busted anything loose like you would have hoped.
He does okay. I saw a couple get over his head, and the Bears had a couple that they downed like inside the 10. One was inside the 5, I think. And I do see a lot where he'll wave off and then run away. And that might be that they might tell him within 15 yards to do that because the percentage, the analytics say it's going to go in the end zone or whatever it is, and he's just been unlucky. But field position is important, especially in the playoffs, in the cold weather, in a game that you might just be relying on your run game more when you're not heaving it around. Field position is critical, and I think we should take a second look at Boston Scott for the punt returns to kind of put that field position in our favor.
Put a little spark in there. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Inside the 5-yard line is a tough ask on a punt. It is. Generally speaking, I would tell you, unless you are for sure that you are going to cross the 15, you don't even field it.
Yeah.
You just let that you're not calling a fair catch inside the 5. That's just asinine. But you just fire, and just get the hell away from it.
Yeah. Well, I've seen guys wave and then run away. Like
we're trying to deke them out. Yeah.
Yep. So it gives them an extra second to get in. And that's kind of what I've seen out of Cubby the past couple weeks is that within that 10-yard mark, he does that. And that's probably what he's supposed to do. And maybe he's just been unlucky because these punters have been sticking it and then it'll bounce forward a yard or two or whatever. And they've been downing it pretty. Our field position hasn't been great unless we're creating turnovers, really.
And that's something that, against the Bears, we didn't, obviously we got the fumble, but I mean, Miles Sanders fumbles for the first time this year. I'm not going to knock it was ugly.
Yeah.
But compared to years past where he was putting the ball on the ground a lot more frequently, it's the first time he's put it on the deck this year. You just hope it doesn't become a habit.
That one was tough because he had just barely made a football move. Like he was catching it and bringing it in, and it was like the perfect timing to punch that thing out. So, I mean, yeah, he fumbled it. But I'm not gonna kill him on that one because that's
and I think if the call had been had been incomplete on the field, I think it would have stayed incomplete on the review.
Yeah, they weren't going to overturn it either way.
They weren't. There wasn't enough there to overturn it either way. Yeah. That was tough. I did feel like the play calling against the Bears was a little too pass happy, especially in those conditions.
I think so too, especially early on.
Yeah, and not enough balance, not enough on the ground. Defensively, again, we did dump Fields 6 times, but he tossed 2 touchdowns. He ran for 95 yards. Despite the pressure in his face, Reddick, I mean, he had to be looking over. I don't care who you are. When somebody is constantly speed rushing around, how do you not fuck, man? Can somebody block him?
I mean, that guy was everywhere. Did you see that one play?
God.
Where he ran the stunt, he came from the outside, he got pushed down, he was on all fours, he missed the tackle, but the evolution of that play from where he started to where he ended, and I think he wrapped Justin Fields up, but he got away. But you could just see that was what he was doing all game, whether he got the sack or not. Like he was in and around him in his area and making him comfortable all day
long. And I want to see the same this weekend because we all know Dak gets flustered and Dak makes mistakes.
He throws picks.
It is what it is. He throws, and he will throw them in bunches when you get in his face.
He just throws it away. Like it looks like he's just he's heaving it like Brett Favre, like gunslinging it.
Yeah, and he's not Brett Favre. So he just doesn't have that kind of arm. Favre could get away with that shit because he just had a cannon.
I'll tell you what, dude. You gunslinging against this secondary, and we are going to get interceptions. This secondary
just imagine
everywhere.
Just imagine when CJ comes back after the first of the year.
Oh, man.
Keep in mind, he's been out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get him back. And again, if we go and beat Dallas this weekend, okay, obviously that's a huge statement you're going to do with your backup quarterback. It locks everything up. The division's done. The number 1 seed's done. Everything's set.
Yep.
Now you got the New Orleans game with the draft pick, but that would be the first game that they're saying CJ would be available again. If you've already, now keep in mind, this is a guy that went out with a lacerated kidney. Yeah. It's not even fun to say.
No.
Right? So if you beat Dallas this weekend and you lock it all up, you're kind of just saying, hey, dude, wait until the playoffs.
I think so.
At that point, it's lacerated kidney.
Yeah, that's tough, man. He's a tough dude. Like that dude. I would give him a couple more weeks let that thing heal because you know how it is. Like they tell you you're good. Like, yeah, you're healed in 4 to 6 weeks, but are you football healed? The minute somebody pops you in that kidney, like
I don't think they won't target that shit.
Oh, they 100% will. And the littlest piece of not stitched, but unhealed, it's just gonna split back open again. Like it's still like a fresh heal. So I would let him sit if it's locked up.
And that's where I think it comes to. So I mean, Jordan Davis is still easing his way back. Dallas Goedert is just coming off IR.
Yeah.
CJ's could definitely use some extra time. And Jalen, I think this Eagles team this weekend, despite Gardner Minshew instead of Jalen, I think you're going to see a passion there, a fire there. Hey, guys, we need to wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
Okay? It's time to wrap this up so that we can dictate who plays when, where, and we don't have to worry about it anymore.
That's what I think too, man. I think the defense, like I told you, the defense is probably a little bit butthurt from everybody saying, well, it was Cooper Rush last time. Like, no, it was our defense. Like, it don't matter who you put back there. They still had Zeke. They still had that offensive line.
Yep.
And
their defense was still good.
And I think it probably pissed them off a little bit. Like, wait a minute, like, we're one of the best defenses in the league. So now they're going to go out and show it on Christmas Eve, prime time, like the whole thing. Like, I think that's what's going to happen. But you have not said, you keep saying, if I haven't heard, I've already laid it out on the table. I think they're going to win the game.
I got it. Look, and I've said this all season long on this show. We're the more talented team. And when you're the more talented team, I expect to win the football game. And I don't feel any differently about this week than I have in weeks past. Now, look, did I think we were incredibly more talented than Chicago? Yeah, I did. And that didn't work out well. But I do think we're still more talented than Dallas. I expect to go down there and win and wrap all this shit up.
All right.
And for that reason, let's wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
Then you don't want to get down to your last two where you don't know now if Jalen's available. The Saints are fighting for the division still, as pathetic as that sounds.
That's unbelievable, man.
The NFC South. And then the Giants, the last week of the year, they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot and or playoff seeding at that point. So they're not laying, that's not going to be a pushover either. They're going to come ready to play.
I think we need
one win.
Or the Vikings to lose, right?
Well, the key is Dallas. If we lose all three and Dallas wins out, Dallas will take the division.
No, I think our magic number to the number one seed is 1. But I think it's the Vikings.
But we can't. We have to still win the division in order to get that seed.
Does Dallas have a path to the division? Because then we both be 13,
so there's 3 games left. We're up on them record-wise by 3, but we would have to lose all 3. They would have to win all 3.
But do they win the tiebreaker? We split. I guess
at that point they would win the tiebreaker because they would have the better division record.
The division record.
Yep.
Damn.
So you can't. You need to. I'm telling you, you need to go win this game on Christmas Eve.
Yep. We gotta shut them
down.
Put
it all to bed. And I do think we're more talented, even without Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I agree.
I've never been a Dak fan. I think he's ridiculously overrated. Don't get me wrong. He's had some big games. He's had some big games against us. But I think overall, I think he's overrated. I do.
If he's on any other team, he's not spoken about the way he is on the Cowboys because they're the Cowboys, right? Everybody wants to fluff them up. And it's America's team, blah, blah, blah. Well, any quarterback, that's why Cooper Rush was the next best thing when he was starting those 4 games. On any other team, Dak Prescott is just a serviceable game managing quarterback. He's not a superstar by any means.
Look at Lou Mancini. Lacerated kidney equals castration in my mind. Ouch in every way. Yeah, dude, like you feel like a pain in your stomach. Like just even saying it is just brutal. So Keenan says, honestly believe we can win the last 3 games with the backup. Defense will carry us. We won't need to win the last 3. Win on Saturday, and the last 2 are gravy train.
Yeah.
And then Lou Mancini says, not going to happen. Lou, what are you talking about? What's not going to happen? Are you not feeling as confident going into Saturday? I still think we're going in there to win the game. I don't think this is going to be looked at as we'll do the best we can with Gardner Minshew. I think Gardner's perfectly capable. Let's go kick their ass.
He's the only basically new starter from the Bears week. Everybody else, unless there was an injury that I didn't know about, but everybody else, all the starters are playing. Like they're going in to beat the Cowboys.
Yes.
Having a backup quarterback, I mean, that's tough, but you pay a backup quarterback because you expect them to come in and at least be serviceable and keep you afloat. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen. And this defense is going to prove something.
Yeah. This team, this offensive line, this wide receiver core, Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, and Boston Scott are a nice tandem out of the backfield. Yep. Dallas Goedert is back. That defensive front, they've been unbelievable all year long. Slay and Bradbury. So Big John, up at the porch. He says that during the game, he says, I haven't heard Slay's name at all. I look him dead in the eye. I'm like, that's the best compliment you can pay a cornerback.
Yeah.
If you never hear his name.
They're afraid of him.
They don't throw him and Bradbury. I think it's like a competition between the two of them now. They kind of go back and forth as who has the lowest passer rating against with the two of them, and it's just beautiful. They're out there just like battling with each other for it. It's great.
They're so good. They are so
good. They're really good, man. And then these quarterbacks don't have more than 2.5 seconds to throw a football.
No. What I did
not
notice
sitting back there.
What I did notice is that Gannon is blitzing more.
Yeah.
And I think that's because he's finding I don't know why it took 14 weeks, but when you have these corners back there, and even like Avante, like even your slot corners.
Avante's an excellent slot corner.
He's a great nickel corner. So like when you have that, press those guys, let that get after it because your D line's coming. You throw a linebacker or two in there, and I mean that's going to create turnovers in my opinion. And he was doing it. He was bringing the heat against Justin Fields all day, right up the A gap, right in his face, and pressing those corners, and they had no answer for it.
No, well, and also, throw in the fact that Chicago's wide receivers stink.
Yeah. Now, Pringles. What about Pringle?
Pringles. Those come in a can, dude. Sour cream and onion. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Dallas, the wide receivers a little bit better.
A little bit.
But I don't like Slay can handle CeeDee Lamb.
Easy.
Right? Bradbury can certainly handle Gallup or whatever other schmuck is on the other side of the field.
Yeah.
And if you got Cedric Wilson or whoever the hell it is coming in this slot, Avante's back. And I feel confident with Avante there. And let's not forget the lateral movement and excellent defense we're getting out of the middle with TJ Edwards.
Dude, he's a
surprise
to me.
Beast.
Love him.
Now, some of that is the players around him, locking down what they've got to do. But TJ's been coming on for a year or so, dude, and he is having himself a season.
He really is, man. He's going to get paid too eventually, and we don't pay linebackers, so
no, we don't. We don't pay linebackers. We don't pay running backs.
Just ask Jeremiah Trotter; he'll tell you.
Yeah. And they're going to have to ask Miles Sanders at the end of the season too.
I was going to say, speaking of that, what do you think is going to happen with Miles Sanders?
So we talked about this a lot during the offseason. This is Miles. This is his walk year, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of see it. He's running with a little bit more assertiveness, but you can also see we're working him harder.
Yeah.
The Eagles tell you with their actions in the draft that they don't value this position. Quimby said this, and I agree with him. They value a body type in that position, like you're 5'9" to 5'10", maybe 5'11", hovering somewhere around 200 pounds. Boston Scott being kind of the aberration to that. But if you look at Kenny Gainwell and Miles Sanders, the body type is similar. Now, Sanders runs a little bit harder than Gainwell does. Gainwell's, I think, a little bit better in the passing game. But they're the same type of guy. Like you hear a lot of these folks or see them on these groups that I joined so I could promote the back porch and promote Green Legion Radio. And they're all, we should take Bijan Robinson in the first round. I'm like, that is never going to happen.
No.
They're never drafting a running back in the first round. It's just not going to happen. They will go second round. That's where we got Miles.
Yep.
Third round, middle round, somewhere around there. I don't think Sanders is going to get the bag from us. It's going to be up to Miles what he wants to do. Does he want to stay on a team that's got a chance to continue being successful, or does he want to go get paid somewhere where might not work out so well? As far as chasing down a ring. So
you think
I think it's going to be on Miles. You could tag him. And maybe that's the play. Running backs as a whole right now aren't getting paid tremendously like they used to either. No. So you're talking about the average of the top 5. I'd have to look up what that is, but
it depends on Jalen too, right? Like if Jalen, and I don't foresee them not signing Jalen, but if for something happens and he's not happy with what they're offering him, because he has one more year on a rookie contract, right?
One more, yeah.
Yeah, but he won't play. He won't play that next year without a contract. He'll sit out or something. I would.
Yeah, Jalen's gonna want his money, and Jalen's gonna deserve to have his money.
He's gonna get it.
He's gonna need it. So, is there anything into Week 16 that interests you aside from the hopeful Christmas gift that keeps on giving and us kicking the shit out of Dallas? Any other matchup, any other game there that jumps out to you?
Any other game?
Yeah.
I haven't really looked at the schedule. What do you got? Let me see.
So I've got it here. I mean, Atlanta at Baltimore does nothing for me. Detroit at Carolina has some juice. If Detroit wins out, they're probably going to get in. And I think that's pretty impressive. Whereas if Carolina at 5-9 is still in the mix in that freaking division too. Pathetic.
Yeah. Well, you got the Giants in Minnesota.
Giants in Minnesota was another one. Cincinnati at New England.
Yeah.
Belichick's going to be mad after the way that Raiders game ended. But I think the Bengals are just flying a little too high right now.
Commanders and Niners.
That's
a good one because
Niners scare me.
They do.
Even with Brock Purdy.
Yeah. But the Commanders Commanders been playing pretty good football.
Yeah, they laid an egg against the Giants, though.
They did. But I think that'll be motivation. Like I could see the Niners losing that. Where is that game?
At San Fran.
Oh, that's gonna be tough.
That's gonna be tough.
But the Commanders, they want to make the playoffs. They got to win that. They got to win that game.
They have to. Yep. Obviously, Philly at Dallas. That's the game of the week. Vegas at Pittsburgh does nothing for you.
No.
And then Sunday, there's only 3. Green Bay at Miami. Green Bay, surprisingly, not out of the playoff mix yet, as horrible as they've been. And then the Dolphins, dude. The Dolphins need to right the ship.
They were killing it. Tua was killing the game.
Yeah, and I think the scary thing that I saw against Buffalo was some of Tua's struggles you could attribute. Jalen Waddle disappeared for weeks.
He did. Yep.
But that didn't happen against Buffalo. He actually had a solid game, at least in the first half. And they still lost. And, Tua still had his struggles. Now you're home against Green Bay. You can end Green Bay's season with a win. You can pretty much – I think if Miami wins this game, I think it moves them to 9-6. They can go 1-1 in their last 2 and probably still get in.
Who, Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if Miami's going to right the ship, this is the get right game for the Dolphins, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean it better happen because they don't have much time.
So here on Green Legion Radio, Commanders, we call them the Commodes.
Yeah. I know.
He needs to say Commodes.
All right, the Commodes. The Commodes and Wheelchair Wentz. That's what Rhea calls Wentz, Wheelchair Wentz.
Wheelchair Wentz? Well, he'll never get another starting gig again. He'll be a backup for as long as he wants. He's done. That was really it, dude. New Orleans at Cleveland. I'm always keeping an eye on the Saints, hoping they lose, right? Because you want that pick to be higher.
100.
Houston at Tennessee. That one could be interesting. So Houston, they're 1-12-1, but they have been in almost every game they've played over the last, here and there over the last couple of months, right? Even against us, they were in it until the fourth quarter.
They were. They played teams hard.
And Tennessee has been horrific lately. If Jacksonville wins out, Jacksonville wins that division.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
So it doesn't even matter what Tennessee does. If Jacksonville wins all their games, now one of them would be against Tennessee. But if Jacksonville wins out, they win the AFC South.
I like to see Dougie P in there.
Yeah.
He's not going to go nowhere, but I wouldn't mind seeing him, get to the playoffs.
No, yeah, he'll eventually run into a Kansas City or Buffalo or Cincinnati, and that'll be the end of that. But
so the Commodes are still in the 7th spot.
Yeah. Yep. Right now, our entire division makes the playoffs.
Damn, that's crazy.
It's wild, especially where this division's been over the last few years, calling us the NFC least and everything. Dude, the NFC South has completely taken that over that mantle. They are awful.
They are god awful.
I mean, look at this division. The Buccaneers lead it at 6-8. And then you have the Panthers, Saints, and Falcons all at 5-9. That's the whole division.
That's so bad.
That's us a couple of years ago.
It really was.
Was it Washington? Was it Washington that won that division at 6-10?
7-9 or something.
7-9, some bullshit a couple of years
ago. That is brutal. And I'll tell you though, I don't want to face Tom Brady in the playoffs even a little bit. Like, I don't care how bad he's been this year and what he's going through sucks. I get it. But I would not want to see him in the playoffs.
Ever. I don't want to play that man in January, ever.
Never. And that team could be dangerous.
Yeah, you just never know.
They still have talent.
I think Father Time has finally caught up to Brady. Finally. And they usually say it happens during like one off season. You talk to like even major league pitchers will talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Like in one off season, they'll lose 5 miles an hour, 3 to 5 miles an hour on their fastball, and they're done.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's what you're seeing with Brady. It's just not the same because they're still like, dude. I mean, Evans is getting older, but he's still pretty good. Godwin, of course, banged up a bunch, but like Godwin's a pretty damn good receiver. I know they try to use Scotty Miller in that kind of, that slot receiver thing. I don't think Scotty Miller is very good, but
no,
there's talent on that team, and the defense can still play really well.
Yep.
I think it's Tom. It's just like it's time, dude. Enough. He should have retired after they won that Super Bowl.
I mean, he'd still be married if he did.
Go out on top. What do you got left to prove, dude?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
He's 45 years old.
He just can't let it go.
I'm 43. I have trouble getting out of bed in the morning. This dude is 45 years.
You don't sleep in an oxygen tank chamber.
What? But I'm also not going out and get my head kicked in by guys twice my size, right?
That's true.
Like this dude just hops out of bed, TB12 bitches, and he's off doing his thing, cooking his shit in coconut water or whatever the hell the weirdo does.
Yeah.
Eating kale smoothies and God knows what the hell else Brady does. I mean, it's amazing to see, really. But I think it's over.
It's time. Yeah,
it's time. It's time. And Brady was one of those guys. As much as you hate him, you had to respect the fact that all the accomplishments, right?
Oh yeah. And
you don't ever want to see a guy like that hang on too long and just be atrocious. Well, maybe it'd be okay with Brady.
I mean, you're not gonna ever forget what he did. That's for sure. Like there's guys that will win a couple chips and then like hang on too long and bow out. But like Brady, no one will ever forget Brady's legacy because he went out with a trash season either. So he probably doesn't care. He just wants another one.
Yeah, he does. He just wants another one. He always wants another one. I mean, I can't really knock him much, right? So last year he led the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns. In 5,300 yards and 45 touchdowns or some outrageous numbers. But like I said before, a lot of times it happens just one off season and everything changes.
Yeah.
Right. I think he came back. He retired, realized his wife was cheating on him already, and said, "Fuck this! I'm going back to football."
That's it. Look what Keenan said in the chat.
What's Keenan got over here? Keenan Harmon. Brady is tired. He's getting laid more than he's been laid in years. Hey. Dude, I mean, he's got to be the world's most eligible bachelor. He has to be.
100%.
I mean, all of his money, all of his accolades, all of his fame, and and the money on top of it, right? When he retires, he's got a guaranteed 10-year, $375 million broadcasting thing from Fox.
Killing it.
I mean, the hell, dude. Like, enough.
He's got the world in the palm of his hand.
In the palm of his hand. Oh, he's had that for 20 years, the prick.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe I'm okay with saying, hang on a little longer, Tom. Let's see how further down this in-suffering asshole you can fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you'll lacerate your kidney.
So, plans for Christmas? You said you're headed up to.
Yeah, so we're heading to pick up the kids in Philly,
right,
and then bring them back to Cincy, which will be pretty awesome. And we're gonna spend the week here in Cincy, and we got plans to do stuff. I think she's got like ice skating stuff planned, just like see the sights in Cincinnati. There's some hike with trolls or something that's kind of cool looking. Like the troll, I don't know what it is, but
where there's that little village where the little houses used to be.
I think so. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. So
odd.
we're just gonna do cool stuff, and then, like I said, January 1st, I want to come up to the back porch and
get back into the nest, brother.
Yeah, man.
You've been, I know you've been busy as hell. You've been all over the place.
It's been crazy, man. Oh, I didn't tell you. We're looking at retirement in May in Philly.
Right.
Yep. And I think we're going to do it at the link, which is pretty
You got
cool.
it?
Well, I mean, it costs money, but
of course.
Yeah. So we're like talking to him now about like what we want and how many hours and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it looks pretty positive. Rhea's
Looking
handling all that,
promising.
but yeah,
Good.
that would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome. So is that something you like? Would you be able to live stream it?
Yeah. I'll probably live stream it on Facebook and stuff. So I'll definitely let people know. But I'm looking at, there's like different spots. You can do the field, you can do the sideline. Each one has a different cost, right? So
sure.
I think it's something I've never really done anything like that. Even when I've re-enlisted, it's always just been kind of like on the ship or in the office, and people do like cool re-enlistments. And I was like, well, fuck, man, like this is my last chance. Like I might as well go out with a bang, and do something cool. So yeah, man.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, bro.
You were talking about that when you were up there last with the before you guys shoved off. I mean, I feel like you guys have been all over the country, for crying out loud.
Dude, we've been
Philadelphia, Hawaii.
We've been going nonstop, man. I told Rhea, I was like, January, we are done. We are done. Like once they drop the kids off, once we get back to Cincy, like I'm done for the month of January. I just need to rest,
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's
time for the playoffs.
Yeah, it's all been good stuff. Like it's been good, like seeing family and friends, and like I mean, obviously it's great, but it's just tiring. What do you guys?
We're home. So I mean, have you seen the weather report for what it's supposed to be like out here?
For I think Friday to Saturday or something, or Thursday to Friday.
So Thursday night the temperature is going to drop like 40 to 50 degrees in like a matter of hours.
Oof.
Friday's high right now is 5.
Ew.
Saturday's high I think is like 11. Sunday I think is like 18. So like even if we played the 1 o'clock game, still great to I'm not sure how many people would be chomping at the bit to head up to the back porch when it's 5 degrees out. You know what I mean? It's a little tough.
Well, the booze will warm you up.
The booze will warm you up. Right. But no, we're just home, dude. Christmas Eve, we usually do kind of just snacky foods and stuff.
Yeah.
Shrimp cocktail. Sometimes I make slider cheeseburgers and stuff, but I think my mother-in-law and my wife are handling all the Friday night stuff.
Nice.
And we'll be here watching football. Saturday night for Christmas Eve. Friday we're doing nothing. It's 5 degrees. I'm not going anywhere.
No.
So then Sunday, Christmas Day, we always do Italian Christmas nights. Make the sauce or gravy, whichever way you want to call it.
Nice.
And the meatballs and garlic bread and all of that shit. So we'll have a nice Sunday dinner. Then we're off Monday, and then it's a 3-day work week for me next week. So I'm off Monday and I'm off Friday.
Beautiful.
And then we head into we'll be back at it at the back porch on New Year's Day. So I'll have to take it easy New Year's Eve. At this point in my life, though, man, we're home on New Year's Eve. It's amateur night anywhere you go, unless somebody's having a house party that we wanted to go to. That's really all we would do on New Year's. Like when I was younger, I used to enjoy it, but
with the kids and stuff, like there's like a family house party with other kids. That's kind of fun, but otherwise, sit inside with the kids, relax.
Yeah, like this week, Christmas week, we were watching a different Christmas movie every night. Like when I get off of here in a couple of minutes, we're gonna go and I'm gonna put on. I think tonight we're watching the Christmas Chronicles. Right?
Nice, man.
So to kick off the week for me, Christmas week doesn't really start until Hans Gruber gets dumped off of Nakatomi Tower.
Yes.
So night 1 is Die Hard. Right, that was Monday night.
It's a Christmas movie, right?
It's a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie, people. Remember
that's
that.
Right. Last night 2, we did Gremlins.
Love it.
Tonight will be Christmas Chronicles. Tomorrow night we'll do. I think we're doing
Home Alone.
Home Alone.
Home
Alone. It is.
I was gonna say you can't not do Home Alone.
And then Friday night, of course, is my favorite Christmas movie. Is going to be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Classic.
Saturday night being Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, we always watch the Polar Express before the kids go to bed.
That's cool.
And then, of course, Sunday's Christmas. So
come on.
Here's my smart ass friend David Conant right at the end here. Not a Christmas movie. Well, sorry, dude. Sorry, not sorry, but you're wrong on this one.
I mean,
it's not Christmas until Gruber gets thrown off of that freaking tower.
The whole point is he's coming home for Christmas.
For Christmas, right?
Like
that's dude.
The whole backdrop is Christmas. Like it's a Christmas movie.
Keenan going in on him. Yippee-ki-yay, David.
Yeah, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, Lou. Good call. Lou Mancini. It's a Wonderful Life is huge too. That's my mother's favorite Christmas movie.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen It's a Wonderful Life?
I know what it is. I've seen bits and pieces. I've never sat down and watched the whole thing. I know.
You should sit and watch the whole thing.
I know. There's a lot of movies I should sit and watch. I just don't have the patience. Maybe my ADD kicks in or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd struggle with that too, especially if it's shit I've already seen. And then White Christmas was another one that was a big deal in my house when I was younger.
Okay.
White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye, the musical stuff, all that.
Yeah.
And It's a Wonderful Life being my mother's favorite. We'd always watch that one too.
And you guys do a Christmas Story on Christmas Day?
Yeah, it'll be on. But don't forget, but don't forget, there's also going to be football on that day too. So I'll have it on in the morning. You have 3 games on Christmas Day,
right?
So they might not be all that much, but David Conant, one more time. I guess because Lethal Weapon has a Christmas part, it's a Christmas movie too. You are absolutely correct. It is a Christmas movie, but that one is a little too brutal to watch with my children right now. Die Hard's bad enough. Lethal Weapon goes way off the rails. So
every time
a bell rings, yeah. So that's I didn't even mean to click on that, but that's from It's a Wonderful Life.
I gotta love it. I love this crew. I love the banter. I love it. It's like it feels like I'm back in Philly. You know what I mean? Like it makes me feel good.
Except for David Conant, that's where all these folks are at, man.
Dave's out. I don't know who he is, but he's out.
Out. Dave's a good guy. He just likes to come in here and give me shit. Imagine
it's a safe space, Dave. You can give us shit. It's a safe space.
Right. So my boner of the week is gonna go. I think I'm leaning Matt Ryan, dude. I just don't think you can go. I don't think you can have the worst Super Bowl choke and worst overall choke and not be that guy. I mean, he can share it with Jim Irsay. I'm fine with that, but I think that's the boner of the week for me.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with the Patriots.
You're going with the Pats?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you said, Matt Ryan with the 2 biggest blown leads, Super Bowl blown lead, and then in history blown lead. But again, that's a team effort, right? Like, yeah, he blew it. He threw some picks. He didn't look good. But the defense, he wasn't playing defense either. So
it's true.
He gave him some short fields, but I gotta give it to that. That was the stupidest play I've ever seen. Like the stupidest play I've ever seen. I mean,
that was pretty bad.
You've seen that play a million times at the end of the game when your team is losing. That's desperation. I've never seen somebody do it when they could just go to overtime.
Just go to overtime, man. Take your chances.
Stupidest play I've ever seen in my life. So
how many more times is Mac Jones going to yell at Matt Patricia on the sideline?
Dude.
Like he just blows up at him constantly. Throw the fucking ball. This run game sucks. That was that 2 weeks ago. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mac Jones is not good.
No, he's not. Like, he's mid. I put him, he's kind of in that same class with Daniel Jones. They're just kind of mid.
In the words of my son, he's cheeks. That's what the kids say nowadays. Like booty,
cheeks?
He's cheeks.
Yeah. Oh, he's booty cheeks. Got it.
Mid cheeks. Like it's a a cool hip language. So
I thought I was hip saying mid.
You were.
Kind of picked that up from my 15-year-old.
Yeah. Ask him if he knows what cheeks is. He's cheeks.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
I'll get him. He was going to come on here again tonight, but I think I'm going to give him on my YouTube channel.
There you go.
Because I never use it. There's like nothing on there. So I think I'm going to start giving him just 10. He likes to talk the NBA.
That's cool.
NBA. So I think I'm going to give him some time doing that. And then we'll go from there.
Is he comfortable in front of the camera and the mic and stuff?
He did all right last week. Yeah. I mean, he had me here. He had my friend Fito, who he's talked to before. Right. So, I mean, he's in his home. It's not like we're out at the bar or anything like that, So he was pretty chill. Definitely nervous, but the problem he had was like off over here where I'm looking now is where his TV is in his room. And he decided to pull YouTube up on his smart TV. So he's watching the chat room. I had him using his phone to log into here. And I told him, don't pay attention to the chat room. I'll handle it. You just stay focused. Well, he couldn't do that. He pulled it up on the TV. So now he's seeing the comments after he talked about Ben Simmons, and they're just digging in on him. And he's just they start getting frustrated. And then they dug in on him even more. It was
again, it was funny. It's a proper Philly welcome. That's what that is.
He did really good.
Good for him.
He did. 15 years old, especially with some of these guys here. He did really well.
I tell you what, man, it takes a lot of confidence, especially like I watch you, every week, and what you do takes a lot of skill and confidence. And for you to let him get on here and start to build that's good parenting right there, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. He's a good kid. He's got to get his grades in order. But he's a good kid. If he would I tell you what, man, if he would put half the effort he puts into talking about the NBA, if he'd put that into his freaking schoolwork, he'd be fine.
That's pretty normal, man. My son went through that at that same age. He just turned 16. He's in he had a not a rough freshman year, but he didn't apply himself. He's a smart kid. But this year, his sophomore year, he's doing much better. Something just like switched in him, so it just.
I'm praying that happens. He's a sophomore now.
They just gotta snap to it. You know what I mean? Oh, he's a sophomore now?
He's a sophomore. Yeah, he'll turn 16 in May.
Well, maybe next year.
That's the way I tell him now is like, look, when you would screw up a bit in 7th or 8th grade, there's still plenty of time. I'm like, Grady, time's running out.
Yeah,
like you can't fumble the ball here, dude. You're in the red zone now.
You got 2 years left, my guy.
That's it, man. It's time to shape up, or you're going to make yourself a really hard life. And, you've watched your father have to work a lot harder than a lot of other people because I made bad decisions. Don't do the same thing I did.
Yeah.
So
are you going to bring him first?
Oh, yeah. He'll be there. He's there every week.
He is? Oh,
yep,
not the night games, though. Not the night games.
No. That's where it got tough because, and it was tough to start to try to get a crowd up there too, man. I mean, that's a big ask on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
8:20 start. Everybody's got to work the next day. I mean, it's a pain in the ass.
I felt bad. I didn't want you guys to think that I dissed you. I was I was out of town, busy, tired.
You were never home.
I was never home. But
even when you wanted to rest. So.
Gosh, dude. But with the kids in town, I want to bring them around just so they can meet your kids too. That'd be cool.
Yeah, come on up. We're if we might have to take over another TV, dude. Thinking about it now, if everybody who we've met the last couple of weeks, plus the families and stuff, yeah, we might have to fan out. We've hung some more stuff up there, another flag. We've got a fight song banner next to the TV for anybody who needs to learn the damn thing.
I got a little neon sign for you. I still have it. I just found it in my box, so
nice.
I'll bring that up. Yeah, it's a little plug-in neon sign. It's pretty cool. It just has the Eagles head, but it's like a purple neon sign. It's only like 8 by 10 or something, but it's something. I want to contribute to the wall.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, look, man, I'm always, and Mike, myself, and the rest of us, we're always appreciative, really, of any time that people can give in spreading the word and being there. And I know you're traveling a lot and you're tired when you're not. I get it. Believe me. Nobody thinks you blew anything off, dude. Not to mention the fact it's not exactly a short drive from your house either. So when you start talking about those night games.
It's like 40 minutes. Yeah, it's not short, but it's worth it to be around my people, my family.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, you've always got a home there, dude.
Thanks,
you know where the nest is at. You've always got a home there. The biggest problem I'm going to have is how do I keep the momentum when the season's over? Because Super Bowl or not, eventually the season ends.
Yeah,
and it becomes tough. Now you're talking about a month between the end of the season and a month between Super Bowl and March Madness.
USFL, my guy.
USFL, doesn't it?
You be a Philadelphia Stars fan? Come on,
Philadelphia Stars fan.
Yeah,
there we go.
And the XFL is starting too, but they don't have any. I don't have any.
They don't have a Philly team.
Nah,
I don't know where the hell they're out of. Yeah, I think we get them both this year, don't we? In the spring.
Yep, and then Arena's got the soul. I don't like Arena though. It's hard to watch.
It is tough to watch because there's no defense at all.
Nope,
none. You'd think with a game where the out of bounds is the wall, there would be more defense, but it just doesn't work out.
Dude, I'd be popping people in that wall.
Hell, dude, I would. What's the out of bounds? Wall, bitch.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like I feel I mean, we could find something to do, even if it's not every week. Have like a Green Legion get together at the back porch just to kind of hang out and just socialize, break bread. You know what I mean? Even that would be good.
Yeah. Yeah, you said you get big college matchups, college basketball matchups or something like that. We can look at some of that. I'm going to have to get creative. Got to get from the Super Bowl to March Madness. Then I got to get from March Madness to baseball. Yeah. And then I got to get from that to the draft.
Well, you got the NBA. You got the NBA all year. up
Right,
until
and the Sixers should be good and keep that afloat.
Yeah, they're starting to turn it on. So they that's up until what, June is the final, something like that, June, July, and then you start getting into camp a little bit. So you could do NBA playoffs in May, June timeframe. So you can get creative. Like I said, even if there's no sports, we could just hang out and break bread, and all wear our stuff and just Green Legion.
And just bullshit, yeah,
man.
That'd be it too.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. I've been racking my brain a little bit what I'm going to do, because starting to get a decent number of people up there, especially when you include the kids.
Yep.
Like you say, including the kids, we're up over 25 people. That back area is not going to be enough. I keep telling Mike, I'm like, dude, it's teetering on that point where you're going to have to fan out and take another TV from these Bengal fans. Too.
Hey, you're building it from the ground up, man. It's impressive what you've been doing, and
it's hard out here, dude. There's a lot of green here. We've talked about this before. There's a lot of green out here. I've been to 2 games here at Paul Brown since I've lived here. Every time I've gone, there's green. And I know there's not a whole lot of people traveling here. Cincinnati's just not that destination spot where you say, "Oh, I got to go there to see a game."
It's not like San Diego.
Right, or Nashville or something like that.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of the green I'm seeing there lives in this area.
Yep.
You just got to get them here. So, I've been really active Facebook and then on here and doing all this. Thankfully, Quimby and the Green Legion, they're supportive, and they, I can preach it on here and use some of this platform to do that. I've done, we've done the show at the back porch a couple of times. That's going to be a little tough come wintertime too, because if the inside gets crowded, then you got to move out to that front area. Because I'm not going to ask Mike to give up a whole table when it's a busy night. That's not fair to them.
Nah.
So then you move out to that front area and it's cold. And I don't want to sit out there freezing my ass off to do the show.
Just do it behind the bar, dude.
Do it behind the bar, dude.
Go back with the the bartender. Set your little laptop up and just stand back there and just do it
with Mike's bourbon collection behind.
Yeah, there you go. The bartender's reaching in front of you, like getting stuff, but you're just going, like just freestyling. Right.
That'd go over like a fart in church. Yeah. So I think we can get creative and carry it. At least until we get through the summer and stuff.
For sure.
You got any closing thoughts, my brother?
I just want to, thank you for having me on. This has been super fun. I've been talking about my Survivor stuff in my podcast, but haven't been able to break down football with anybody. So, thank you so much for having me on. It's much appreciated. You're always welcome on my podcast. Thank you to the chat people in the room for interacting with us and making us laugh. I appreciate y'all, and I will definitely join the chat at the next show so I can razz Adam with you guys. But thanks for welcoming me in and making me feel like family. I love y'all, and thank you, Adam. I appreciate it, man.
No, thank you for coming on. Like I said, the biggest thing for me is that whoever is gracious enough to give up their time to come on here, that person's comfort level is what's most important to me. I can do this until the day I die.
Love it.
I can do this all day, every day. Yak. You're gift of the gab when it comes to sports.
Well, good. So, you got to come on mine. I want you to come on mine.
Dude, absolutely. Yeah, I will absolutely do that. Let's set that up too. I love the format, man. Yeah. And I'll keep checking you out the Survivor stuff too. Green Legion, if you can still hear me out there, if there's anyone who knows anyone who can push an envelope to get somebody onto that show, you're looking at your next candidate right there in our friend Jason Szczurowski. What do you got there?
I got something for you. Let me show. Let me real quick before you sign off. Let me show the.
Yep. Go for it, brother.
This is my little tribe buff from my Survivor experience. I was on the Wabozo tribe. Yep. It's legit, man. Like this is they come to play. But
that is excellent.
If anybody wants to try a game like Big Brother or Survivor, live reality games, Survival Challenge is the one I played. It's one of the hardest ones to get on, and thankfully, I guess I'm just so handsome they wanted to cast me. I don't know. But I didn't win.
Rhea agrees with you anyways.
Yeah, Rhea agrees. I didn't win, but it was a blast. My season will be on YouTube once they're finished with the editing. So you'll get full confessionals just like the game Survivor. But if you want to play, I highly recommend it. It's amazing. They donate the cost of the game or what we pay to play to charity. So yeah, man, thank you.
Yeah. So and did I see the next one is South Carolina? Is that the 2023? They're doing tryouts sometime in January for.
No, it's always in Macomb, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So it was
All right.
5 hours from here, from Cincy, which is nice.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But we had players from all over. We had players from LA, Buffalo, all over the country. It's a 5-day event in Macomb, Illinois, right after 4th of July, like the Wednesday to Sunday. And it's legit Survivor. You are out there in the rain.
It looked like it.
Thunder, lightning on me. Like we slept. I had no tarp on night 2. It was miserable, and I was like, I loved every minute of it. I'm in Survivor. Like it was phenomenal. So anyway, if you like that kind of challenge, you like to to politic and play the game of Survivor and vote your friends out and make alliances, give it a shot. Survivalchallenge.net and also on Facebook.
Nice. Jason, give us your podcast one more time for the folks out there, the name, where they can view and everything. I want to make sure we plug that as much as possible.
Thanks, man. It's called The Sailor's Port Call. You can get it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, all the big podcast platforms. It's like basically a skull with a beer mug. That's my symbol. So you'll see that. And like I said, it's a leadership podcast. I got about 40 episodes. I always bring different guests on. And it's a good time. I just love talking to people about their life and what they do and getting their perspective. And if anybody who's listening wants to come on and share about their life and leadership and what they do in their job, hit me up. Sailor's Port Call, sjayski, SJAYSKI @gmail.com. You're welcome to email me too, or reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram.
And we'll make sure that we start posting the link to your Spotify or when you're going to go live and all of that stuff.
Thanks, bro.
As we get moving here too, just to, again, like you're trying to do for me, one hand washes the other, brother. Right?
Appreciate
That's
that.
how we roll.
I appreciate that.
Right? Fam got to look out for each other. All right, Jason, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been a blast. And time goes by quick, dude. Hour and 42 minutes.
Yeah, man. I had a blast.
It goes fast.
I had a great time talking to you.
So for our buddy Jason, this has been the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. We thank you, as always, for giving up your time to us this evening. We will see you next Wednesday, again here from the compound, where my friend Sam Cohen, who was on over the summer, is going to join again. He's got some interesting shit. This man was actually at the Heisman Trophy Awards ceremony just a week or so ago, and he got to take part in a 2-hour meet and greet and dinner prior to. So
tune into that.
On the verge of being jealous, but more so just happy for my friend. I intend to pick his brain apart and ask him about all the pictures he was sending me as he's posing with Tim Tebow and Johnny Manziel.
Can't wait.
Anyways, Jason, thank you again. Green Legion, we'll talk to you soon. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Well, we'll just say Merry Christmas for now. And go Birds.
Go Birds.